For me to feel nothing between Pinocchio and Geppetto, like that's the whole point of the story. It's the whole point of it. If you feel nothing, if I didn't even like get teary-eyed at one point, then what is there in Pinocchio if you don't have that story? Hey guys, welcome back to Canon Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing the 2022 version of Pinocchio directed by Robert Zemeckis, and it is now streaming on Disney Plus, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong, movies being made for Disney Plus is important. It's really good, but I feel like it's taking away from the cinematic experience. It's taking away the cinematic feel, and it has become more of a Disney Plus cinematic feel, if that makes any sense. Like, there's the theatrical way to do things, and then there's the Disney Plus way to do things. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like when it comes to movies, live action films, it needs to feel like it belongs on the big screen, and then you're just putting it on Disney Plus. This is really not what it feels like, and I think that's what really took me out of Pinocchio. Is Disney promises to give you the cinematic experience on Disney Plus in a different way, especially with the Marvel shows. You're getting a 6-hour long movie. That's essentially what they tried to do with those shows in the series that we've had so far. But if you try to do that with other live action films, it doesn't translate well. And I think that was the ultimate downfall for Pinocchio, is that it felt like a straight to streaming movie, kind of like how a straight to DVD movie would have been in the early 2000s. And that's not necessarily a good thing. I'm not saying that there's not quality programming and, projects going to streaming services, but this one felt like a throwaway. And again, I don't want to say that because every film has something special. Don't get me wrong. It's just with Pinocchio, it felt by the numbers of the story that they were trying to, execute. It's something that we've known for such a long time. We've watched this over and over and over again. Other filmmakers have tried to like revamp it and make it their own, make it a more darker personal story. That's completely fine. The Disney version was still extremely terrifying to watch as a kid. It was very scary. But again, I'm going to keep saying this. And some live action films, like Kenneth Branagh's Cinderella, was absolutely beautiful. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Sometimes animation is better than live action in how to tell the story. There's, visual ways to enhance the story at hand, to make it more entertaining, more engaging for the eye of the viewer. And when you translate Pinocchio's story, if there's no heart to Pinocchio, no emotional connection to Pinocchio and Geppetto, that's where you kind of lose the magic of the story to begin with. It just doesn't click as it should have if you lose what made Pinocchio so special. If you're not going the animated route, with the beautiful blue fairy. Cynthia Erivo was absolutely fantastic. Obviously was in it for like not even 5 minutes. And I'm like, where are you going? I need you back like right now, because you're so good. Made me really excited for Alphabet, to be perfectly honest. But the magic just wasn't there. It wasn't there. I felt like Tom Hanks was playing himself with an accent, a very bad Italian accent. And it kind of faded in the background, like he wasn't using it. It was just his own form of talking like an older man, and didn't work. For me to feel nothing between Pinocchio and Geppetto, like that's the whole point of the story. It's the whole point of it. If you feel nothing, if I didn't even like get teary-eyed at one point, then what is there in Pinocchio if you don't have that story? And then, after that first section where he becomes a real boy and all of that, we get Jiminy Cricket. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt was good. He's a good actor. He's a good voice actor. I don't know what accent he was putting on. We're not supposed to hear Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but the accent didn't even feel like Jiminy. It felt really weird. It was like they were mimicking the old voice instead of just making it their own. And it was a lot of that throughout, because you're just trying to take the bones of that original animated feature film and then try to translate it to screen without adapting it to a live action story, if that makes sense. Because you can't go by the numbers. You really can't in this case, because the animation fills the gaps sometimes, and it's just beautiful. And it's like there's so much awe and wonder in Pinocchio because of it. And that just wasn't there. It wasn't there. Then as the story moves, further away from Geppetto and, the fox and the cat come in, the special effects just were not it. They looked very unfinished. There's no fluidity. And there's a lot of different ways that they animated these characters. I think that's why it felt really off watching it for me, because Pinocchio is literally, obviously, he's a wooden boy, but they animated the wooden boy. So the eyes were not moving as much, like especially in the original, because it's animated. Sure, he's wooden, but he's not actually wooden. He's animated. We have to like suspend it. Like that's the difference here. Where here, he's actually wooden with the joints. You see the pine and the stains and all of that. And then he's animated. So that was weird. Didn't look that great. And then the fox and the cat were completely CGI. So was Jiminy Cricket. So was the seagulls. All the animals were like done differently than Pinocchio, and then it just didn't mesh well, because then you're also incorporating like actual actors, like humans, with that, and it felt like everyone was on a different plane in this movie. So that takes you out as well. Then there's the pacing issue where it takes long to start, and then what you're trying to do is remember what happened in the original. If you're like me, Pinocchio was never really a favorite of mine. I never went back to watch it. It just never stayed with me. There's only like 2 good songs in Pinocchio. I never understood why it was a classic. I'm going to be straight up. Maybe because it's older, whatever, but it never clicked with me. And I just remember being scared watching Pinocchio, which is the point of it. So as we stray further away, we kind of lose Jiminy Cricket, his conscience. And they're explaining it. And it's the same way that they explained it in the original, and that's fine. But we kind of lose Jiminy a bit. And I don't know why we lose Jiminy a bit. And it's because they have to make room for another character, and her name is Fabiana. And I really tried to remember if she was in the original, and it was another marionette who was ballerina. Fabiana is a character who lost a part of her leg. It's nice that they added that character to make Pinocchio, see that there are other people out there who have had, their own issues, their own, hardships. And I understand why they added Fabiana and why they added a female character. I get it. But then that also took away from Jiminy Cricket, who's a very important character to Pinocchio. And we also don't have that connection between Jiminy and Pinocchio because we don't have them together enough. We have them a bit at the beginning, but then we completely lose Jiminy Cricket. And that's fine. I just feel like everything was all over the place, but Pinocchio, the story is all over the place. And I just wanted more of an emotional connection to Pinocchio, since he is the lead of this movie and we're going on this journey with him, and I felt absolutely nothing. I think my favorite sequence was the Pleasure Island sequence. I thought that was a lot of fun. We got new characters added, and I really liked how extravagant they made Pleasure Island. I think that was the one moment where I was like, oh my God, like I was in awe at that point. Even the donkey transition, not that great. It just felt really scary, all of it, but for the wrong reasons. Not because we're terrified for Pinocchio, but because of the way everything kind of looked. I don't know how the young kids are going to take Pinocchio. I don't know if they're going to be able to watch it just because of how these characters look. There was a 2019 version of Pinocchio directed by Matteo Garrone, and Roberto Benigni played Geppetto, which was absolutely incredible because he played a live action version of Pinocchio a while back. So it was really sweet to have him tie back into this story and play Geppetto. But the story, there was so much heart in that movie, and it was just beautifully shot. And then you have this wooden doll, but he was actually made out of would, and it was his own version of it, and the eyes were like really, really small, and he was just talking and still moving, and it was animated, but not to the extent of what this Pinocchio was animated. And if you guys are interested to see the difference in how to do a live action Pinocchio, check out Matteo Garone's 2019 version, because I was really impressed with what they did with it. It felt different and it didn't feel too over the top, and you got that connection with Geppetto, you know, you got that with Pinocchio. And it's a very emotional movie the way that they did it. So there's different versions of Pinocchio that everyone should be watching after or even before this 2022 version to see what's actually missing, to see what actually works. And unfortunately, this is like a copy and paste version of the original, and it just did not work for me. There's different versions that I've preferred. I'm really excited for Guillermo del Toro's going on Netflix in December. I think that's going to be really interesting to see what he does with it. But again, like, this story has been rehashed multiple times and everyone has added something different, even with the live action and the animation and how to actually build Pinocchio. So unfortunately, this didn't really work for me. I ended up giving it a 1.5 out of 5. It is my lowest rating of the year, and I feel really bad because it's Pinocchio. I feel so bad. Let me know which version of Pinocchio is your favorite. Maybe I haven't watched one. I want to know in the comments below how you guys feel about it. Let me know how you guys feel about this version of Pinocchio in the comments below. It is also Disney Plus Day today, guys, so go watch Thor: Love and Thunder as well on Disney Plus. Give this a go. It's always a Disney live action film, and we have to stay up to date because there have been some really strong ones. And unfortunately, this one directed by Robert Zemeckis just didn't land for me. So if you guys enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.